Well, another series for the Tigers, another series victory for the Tigers. We'll talk about another Tarik Skubal masterclass and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Friday, June 13th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Welcome in. Welcome all. Happy Friday. Hopefully we'll send you off into the weekend here with a decent program on this Friday the 13th. The Tigers win 4-1 on Thursday the 12th. Thursday. Imagine if it was Thursday the 12th. That doesn't seem as scary as Friday the 13th. 4-1 over the Baltimore Orioles. They go back to 20 games over 500 with a 45-25 record. And of course, secure the series victory over the now 27-40 Baltimore Orioles. My first thought is just that was beautiful. We will absolutely take that 10 times out of 10. You lose by 9 on Wednesday night, and you still win a series. That's a great thing. Tarik Skubal, it rocks. He's absolutely incredible. The offense does enough. It wasn't exactly an offensive masterclass, but it didn't need to be. And at the end of the day, a win is a win, and you're coming back home. You're coming back to the crib against the Cincinnati Reds with a series victory. We'll preview that series at the end of the show. The vibe I got was just taking care of business, to be honest with you. Like, it wasn't flashy, it wasn't perfect. I guess that doesn't really count towards Tarik Skubal. He kind of is flashy and perfect in my eyes, but you went in and had a nice, solid victory to take 2 of 3. And I'm never going to complain about that, even if it wasn't, again, maybe the most high-powered, incredible thing in the world. Tarik Skubal might be the most high-powered and incredible thing in the world. We'll start with him on the side of things of what went right in this ballgame. 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. You know, it's funny. In the 5th inning, I saw a couple of people that were like, oh, you know, he's only got 3 strikeouts or something like that, 4 strikeouts, whatever. It's like, this is a low strikeout day. It's like he still ends with 6. It's not exactly low. I don't think anybody has 6 strikeouts and goes, wow, like what a terrible day. It's funny because I don't think this was actually even really close to his best command. And he still went 7 shutout innings against a team that's obviously struggling this year, but has a lot of big names offensively. And the thing that was so darn impressive about this specific outing is that he attacked it differently than we have seen in the past. This game plan was clearly much different from how he usually approaches hitters. And I think that that's a huge testament to not only him, but this coaching staff and obviously the catcher room. Like, everybody that's involved in creating this game plan, I think deserves a ton of credit, because this was sinker heavy. This was a lot of 2-seam fastballs. And we're so used to him just blowing, 101 miles an hour past people with the 4-seam, because that works. That clearly they saw something where, like, hey, like, these guys maybe do decent against velocity or do decent against just 4-seam fastball or against lefties that throw hard. Maybe they just kind of sit fastball. And they went, you know what? We're going to throw the 2-seam. It's still 95, 96, 97. It has some movement. It's not going to miss as many bats, but you'll keep the ball on the ground. And for a team that has the ability to hit home runs, Tarik Skubal had a season high in ground ball outs in this outing. Valley Sports Detroit did a great job of highlighting that in the broadcast. And like, it wasn't as much swing and miss as usual. I think he still had 14 or 15 whiffs in the game, which if pretty much anybody else on the team did, we'd be talking about as like a solid day in the office in terms of swing and miss. But for him, he had a 30 whiff outing earlier this season. Like, it's not as much as maybe we're used to, but it kept the ball on the ground, had a ton of ground balls, which is obviously what the sinker is best utilized for. And I think that this is just not really like a message. I think everyone is well aware that Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher on the planet, but this is just one of those things where the fact that he can kind of get you out any way he wants is just so dangerous for the rest of the league, right? You're a team that hits velocity well, or maybe that lifts the baseball well. Okay, well, he can keep you on the ground. And he also can still get strikeouts when he needs it. He kind of emptied the tank there at the end and had 3 strikeouts in the last inning and a half. Like, he's so good. He's so good. And for him to, with a pitch count around 90, go back out there in the 7th, then allow a walk, and still be able to turn around and go 7 full innings of work and get the next 3 batters out, including a strikeout, 98 miles an hour fastball at the end of the game. Like, everything that he does is just unbelievable. The other thing that I loved in this outing was he was throwing sliders, which just in general, I am going to be pleased if he throws more of those. But the thing that is just so psychotic about him in the best way possible is that he was throwing sliders to righties. He wasn't even really throwing them to the lefties. Usually when you get a lefty on the mound, it's like, okay, when it's a lefty-lefty matchup, you're going to see a lot of sliders low and away. No, he threw a handful of sliders in this game, and he was throwing them to righties. And he was successful with it. A lot of strikes thrown, a lot of whiffs. Hitting the back foot, even had one that even caught the heart of the plate, but just, you got to sit on 103 outside. And next thing you know, it's 89 over the heart of the plate. That's very hard. He is the best on the planet. And his ERA is now 1.99. It's the middle of June, people. And this dude has a sub-2 ERA. He's disgusting. 2 walks in this outing, a little bit off-brand, I guess. I think he's only had 1 total walk in like the last 5 starts. So I guess it really got away from him. That's like I said, it wasn't even the best pinpoint command we're kind of used to. And it just doesn't even matter. Unbelievable outing for Tarik Skubal. We're going to go to a little bit of an early break here. Talked a lot about the pitching and kind of the series as a whole. We'll talk about offense and more right after this. First, though, got to talk to you about our friends over at Trade Coffee. Whether you're gearing up for back-to-back meetings, shuttling kids back and forth to activities, or tackling an endless to-do list, your morning sets the tone for all of it. And that's why you should start with the perfect cup of coffee crafted just for you. Enter Trade Coffee. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S. It delivers fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they've got a roast you will love. I took Trade's quiz. Okay, they have a quiz. It took me a minute. And the first bag they sent me was spot on, exactly the coffee that I like. It's so cool because they use so many different resources around the country. They can truly find a coffee and a roast that is perfect for what you like. The coffee was fresh, smelled amazing, and honestly, it ruined grocery store coffee for me in the best way possible because this is what my roommate and I will be drinking for the foreseeable future. So use Trade Coffee. I cannot say enough good things about it. And right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off of your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shouts to everydayers that do tune in every day. We, of course, will be back on Monday, recapping this series against the Cincinnati Reds that we will preview here at the end of the show. Also, if today's episode is a little like sticky in terms of audio or video quality, with the Google outages that happened on Thursday, we were kind of affected by that. So if it's a little weird, I apologize. It won't be like a consistent thing, but I'm not going to not give you a show if I can help it. So bear with me if that is a problem. If not, forget that I even said anything and just, sit back and enjoy your whatever part of your daily routine involves this program. Let's talk about the offense. So Parker Meadows hits a home run in this 4-1 victory over the Baltimore Orioles in Camden. He was 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but that one was a 3-run homer, his first of the season, first since coming back from the injured list. He still looked a little bit late on the fastball at times in this ball game, and I think even after the homer that was still true. But this is really nice to see him square up a baseball and turn on one, right? Like it wasn't a mistake homer. It wasn't like, oh no, that barely got out, or it was just off the end of the bat the opposite way, and short porch and certain stadiums or whatever. Like he turned and burned on that, and that's a beautiful thing. He will be fine, right? It'll take time. He missed a lot of games, including spring training, everyone else's ramp-up process. He is behind schedule. It will take time, but I promise you, Parker Meadows is absolutely worth the wait. Superman with a homer. It was a beautiful swing. Really, I want to give credit to the whole bottom half of the lineup. So the Tigers had 7 hits in this game. 6 of those 7 hits, I believe. Yeah, 6 of those 7 hits came from the 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters, from the 6 through 9. McKinstry, Javi, Meadows, Dingler. Those 4 gentlemen responsible for all 4 RBIs and 6 of the 7 hits on the ball game. McKinstry had a couple of hits, beautiful. He's got an OPS over 800 now. Like we're entering the conversation of like if there is like a utility spot in the All-Star game or some type of like reserve situation. I don't know how he doesn't get, if not just a ton of credit, just straight up the spot for that. I would love to see him get recognized in some capacity. He has had such a great season. Zach McKinstry, we just talked about. Not sure why I'm repeating myself. Javi Baez is the name that's on my show sheet. Great defense, as we've become accustomed to. Good throws today. Usually Javi, like we can always count on him for the range, but like usually Torkelson has to do some work over there with the scoops and whatnot. It was really, firing that thing in there and had some accurate and hard thrown throws over from shortstop, that I appreciate, but goes 2 for 4 at the plate, which is obviously a beautiful thing. The OPS is back down to 718, but he's still hitting 274, and the power is zapped, as we've talked about a lot. He doesn't draw walks, but if he can knock a single, when the Tigers need it once a game, I'll gladly take that at this point with plus defense over at shortstop. So want to give credit to the bottom of the lineup there. And obviously Dillon Dingler, I don't think I mentioned, the home run finally broke open the scoring for either team, for both teams, I should say, in this game. Line drive to left field. Hopefully Kauser's okay. He hit the wall hard. I don't know if that's just like they've been moving the wall out there around so much over the last 3 years that like maybe the outfielders all aren't still like, but even that, like that feels like that's a left field thing. This was like a left center thing. I don't know, but he drilled the wall and I think stayed into the game at least immediately. I don't remember if he got pulled later, but hopefully he's okay because that was a hard collision. But obviously Dingler continuing to add to his hopefully all-star campaign as well. Riley Greene, I want to talk about. So Riley Greene does technically go over. Technically, he did go over. 0 for 2, though, with 2 walks. So really an all or nothing game. 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. But I want to put him on the side of things that went right in this game because I'm just so happy to see him drawing walks. Last year, this was such a strength of his. He had, I think, like a 10.5, 11% walk rate. Like he was so patient and so good at drawing walks that it made the higher strikeout numbers well worth the trade-off. He draws walks and he hits the ball hard. Like that's what you want in the modern age of baseball. But so far this year, the frustration has been, okay, when he still does hit the ball, it's hard and he still is getting good results when he does hit it, but he's striking out a lot and not walking. And so over the last week-ish, that has kind of changed, and he's been walking a little bit more, and having a multiple walk night on Thursday night is something that I just want to give him his flowers for, give him some credit, because it's just awesome to see that improvement and adjustment, I'll say, over the last couple of weeks. And then Jahmai Jones, after I kind of critiqued him yesterday for a poor at bat on Wednesday night. He goes out there and only has one at bat against the opener for Baltimore, but does in fact get a hit, drills the umpire to start off the game. Crazy start to a baseball game. Then back on the pitching side of things, the bullpen, Canely and Vest closed the door late. Obviously, Canely gave up the home run, but his command was kind of all over the place, which he'll be fine. I'm not really worried about it, but that's 2 outings in a row that his command has been subpar, I'd say, or 2 of his last 3 that have been kind of subpar command wise. But he had a stretch like that at the end of April, and 3 outings later, he was back to being totally fine. So I'm not worried. I think he'll be fine. It's just kind of that's probably more of the anomaly than vice versa, but something to keep an eye out for, I guess. And then Will Vest struggled in that first at bat, and then the rest was just mowing people down. So good for him. The thing that I love to see out of Will Vest's outing, though, that I hope isn't overlooked, is the effectiveness and usage of the changeup. About 3 weeks ago, I came on here and said, I'm worried that Will Vest might get to a point where he's too fastball reliant, right? I think it was like early May, maybe mid-May, when we had that conversation and talked about, I don't want him to just be like, his fastball is really good, but it's not good enough where he can throw it 100% of the time at the major league level and get away with it. So I'm really happy to see that it's a 91 mile an hour changeup that moves horizontally as well. That was disgusting. He made everybody look ridiculous. And then that set up the final pitch of the ball game, 97, 98, right at Jackson Holliday's knees. He swings under it because he's just got thrown 2 straight changeups and now has to sit on that and gets a fastball. So I think that is something, if it's not going to be the slider, which early in his career it was, I'm totally okay with him becoming a fastball changeup guy, but you just need something else besides the fastball to keep people honest. And I think if that's the changeup he's going to offer all year, then that is definitely a worthy secondary pitch. What went wrong? Really, I mean, the offense outside of the 4th inning, you could kind of say, like, Kramer he went 7 innings. Like, he went 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not the greatest offensive performance from the Tigers. There was an opener used, but like the fact that Kramer was able to throw over 100 pitches and go 7 innings probably isn't the best reflection of your offense. And again, 8 strikeouts. This dude is in the bottom, 12, 15% in baseball in K rate and whiff rate. And has had a couple. I think this is his second 8 strikeouts performance of the season. Like, I'm not trying to make it sound like this dude isn't a major league pitcher, like, 5 and 7 on the year, whatever. But I think maybe we could have spaced out. Really, I'll stop rambling. Here's the biggest thing, and I said this yesterday. They just need to get back to where they were in the first month and a half of the season when they were consistently making starting pitchers work. And again, there was technically an opener in this game, but like the Bolt guy was able to throw over 100 pitches and go 7 innings. They need to get back to that point that they were at in the first 6 to 8 weeks when it was, your starting pitcher might not give up too many runs, but he's going to get out of there in the 4th or 5th inning. That just hasn't been the case over the last 3 weeks, 3 going on 4 weeks. And I think that this game was kind of a reflection of that as well. But I'm not going to get mad at 4 runs, especially with Skubal on the mound. 2 home runs, right? Like, the offense wasn't bad in this outing. It just was very, focused. It was all in 1 inning and didn't have too much production outside of that. Individually, Kerry Carpenter goes 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. His OPS is now down to 777. It feels like every time we talk about, maybe some concerns with him, it gets lower and lower. So here's why I think it's valid to bring up the concerns with Kerry Carpenter. Okay, we look at his stats lately. In the last 28 days, which Baseball Reference just has, like, last 7 days, last 14 days, last 28 days, whatever. Last 28 days, he has a .238 on-base percentage. That is a real stat. And that's actually before he goes 0 for 4 with 2 Ks in this game. So that might be worse now. 238 OBP. The thing with Carp is that we all love the fact that he can drive any baseball and he can barrel up, I should say, pretty much any ball that's thrown at him. The thing is, he never walks, ever. And so he's swinging at everything, swinging at balls at his eyes, swinging at curveballs that bounce in the dirt, etc. And so just no one's throwing it in the zone. I'm like, all right, well, this dude's going to swing eventually, especially if I just throw high cheddar. A 238 OBP in the last 4 weeks of baseball. That's not a small sample size. And even if you think that that is a small sample size, maybe unfair, his on-base percentage on the season is 290. That's not good, right? The slug is why we love him. Those numbers are still solid. The expected slug is even higher. He's still pulling the baseball, hitting it hard in the air when he does make contact. There's been a lot of strikeouts lately, and he just straight up has not been getting on base. And he needs to make the adjustments that Riley Greene has been making lately in terms of being a lot more patient. And to his credit, I think the last at bat he had in this ball game was actually the most patient I'd seen him in a while. Took a couple of balls out of the zone, some breaking balls that would have been and looked like they were over the heart of the plate for a long time, and then moved at the last second. Didn't get a result, but I think that if you are looking for a silver lining in this outing specifically, that last at bat, I thought he at least worked the count a little bit better. And then Colt Keith, I guess, 0 for 3, just some weak swings. He had one kind of line drive to left field opposite way, but I don't know. I'm still just kind of waiting for him to turn that corner and get the timing down to a point where he can turn and burn on baseballs. And we just haven't really seen that consistently on fastballs, I should say, specifically on a consistent basis. Let's talk stuff. Okay. We got a roster move and then we have a series to preview. We will do that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are not only in full swing, they're almost over with the NBA Finals in full swing. Pacers up 2-1, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action than right now with FanDuel. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Which players are going to show up in the biggest moments? Obviously, Halliburton has been teamed the moment. I'm not sure if that's going to stick. It's kind of awful, but regardless, he's been really good in those big moments. We've obviously seen the MVP over on Oklahoma City's side in those big moments as well. There's so many big names, 2 great basketball teams. And if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up as well, because you can go to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If that bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. So we have a roster move that happened before this ball game. Bo Brisky was, in fact, demoted to Triple-A. I mean, not the most shocking thing in the world. We talked about that possibility on yesterday's show. You know, he's just struggled so mightily. And well, I guess we'll talk a little bit more about, when we could see him back and whatnot in a second. The corresponding roster move was Matt Gage, promoted from AAA to the majors. Guy in his early 30s, kind of just bounced around, been mostly a career minor leaguer. Really throws a lot of different types of fastballs, like a lot of sinkers this year down in Toledo. Obviously four-seam fastball, but throws a cutter every once in a while as well. Has thrown a slider before. I don't know how much usage that's gotten this year, though. Mentioned on the broadcast today that he learned how to throw a changeup from this organization, has never really thrown one in his career. So we'll see what kind of stuff he's offering, but he's had a great season down in Toledo. A left-handed pitcher, which I think is interesting considering the lack of success Tyler Holton has had. So I'm interested to see kind of the left-handed pitching usage between now Gage, Herter, and Holton, but he's at a 1.67 ERA down in Toledo. There's two sides of the coin here. I don't know. Whatever. You'll get what I'm trying to say. His strikeout rate has dipped pretty significantly, actually, from previous minor league teams that he's played for, and from before he was in the Tigers organization. But the ERA is so good, and I think the most important thing from the Tigers' perspective is the walk rate has plummeted. So I'm really interested to see how it plays at the major league level, because he's walking the fewest amount of batters he has, like maybe I think it's literally ever walked on a rate basis in his entire professional career. But at the same time, the strikeout rate has taken a significant step back, even from just last year to this year. So I'm interested to see, but he's been keeping hitters off the board, a lot of weak contact with that sinker, obviously. So we'll see how it plays at the major league level and what kind of usage he gets, being a lefty that throws a sinker like that. In terms of Bo, honestly, like, just hope he irons it out. There's a lot of adjustments that he still needs to make. He was so good last year. I think it's absurd to just be like, yeah, like, he's awful, like, we never want to see him again, whatever. He was maybe this team's best reliever like 8 months ago. I think because he has minor league options, it is worth him going down, trying to figure it out, and then maybe calling his number again later in the season. So we'll see, and keep an eye, obviously, on his production down there. I mean, this was a great to walk out of Baltimore with a series win, despite how game 2 went. The fact that you were still able to do that, and that's again, it's kind of a cheat code to have Tarik Skubal go in a rubber match of a tie series, but that's the luxury that the Detroit Tigers currently have. So, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. You have Cincinnati this weekend at home. Should be really fun. Only other thing I want to talk about before we preview that series is that the Tigers and Twins have been flexed to Sunday Night Baseball at the end of June, which is super fun. I think we played the Twins in one of the last series in June. And your Detroit Tigers will now get Sunday Night Baseball, which is pretty darn exciting. I mean, what a time. It sucks because we don't get Benetti, and like, Benetti's a treasure, but so we'll have to live with the national broadcast and whatnot. But it's just going to be super cool that the Tigers are getting, asked to and getting forced upon the national spotlight. It's a beautiful thing. 20 games over 500 heading into this weekend series against the Reds. Pitching matchups, you have Nick Martinez against TBD for the Tigers on Friday, Brady Singer against Jack Flaherty on Saturday, and Wade Miley against Sawyer Gibson-Long on Sunday. We'll see if SGL gets a straight-up start or if he gets an opener again like he did in his last outing. I think you should take 2 of 3 from the Reds. I feel like I'm a broken record, and like every preview I just say, go take 2 of 3, but like, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I think the Tigers should have the upper hand in almost any series they enter at this point, especially on the pitching side of things. I think they have the advantage this weekend as well. I think that 2 of 3 is a very fair ask. The Reds have had a really, I don't know, roller coaster of a season. I think inconsistency describes the Reds kind of to a T. Go look at their lineup. Everybody in their lineup either has an OPS in the 800s or like the 500s, and very few are in between. They're pitching kind of similar. I don't think it's as dramatic, but like, Wade Miley in 2025 is starting a game for the Reds, who are trying to make the postseason on Sunday. Wade Miley's pushing 40 and has an ERA of about 5. I think he only has 1 or 2 outings this season, so maybe that's not fair, but like, that is, a testament to kind of where they're at. Should be a really fun weekend, though. And you got one of the most exciting players in the sport in Elly De La Cruz. Honestly, the Reds have a lot of really fun players offensively. This is not a gimme, and they have been winning games lately. I mean, that's the weird thing. Like, I think they just went on a 5 or 6 game winning streak recently. But in the middle of May, they also lost series to like some of the like worst teams in like the Pittsburgh. Like, I don't know. It's just they've been. I know that Locked On Reds with Jeff Carr, who's a very prominent fixture in the Locked On network and is a absolutely phenomenal host and great at his job, great dude as well. He always mentions how the Reds are kind of the epitome of like they score like 15 one day and then get shut out the next 2 days. And so their stats don't look that bad, but it's just a lot of spiking and, peaking and valleying. So we'll see. We'll see what version of the Reds we get, and we will see if this pitching staff can hold down this Reds offense that has some high-powered players on it. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We, of course, will be back on Monday recapping said series against Cincinnati. Be sure to check out Locked On MLB Game Night after the final out of every single day. I was going to say weekday, but it's just day period. The last out of the last game of every single day, 7 days a week. Locked On MLB's YouTube goes live, and two hosts from the Locked On Network will go through and give you a rundown of every single game that was played in Major League Baseball that day, which is really, really cool. So I think that's all I got. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch you on Monday, baby. Go Tigers.